Far away. Off you go, yeah.
My name is Tony Palmer. I make films about performers mostly, not entirely, but mostly. I've made a new film about Benjamin Britten because this is the 100th anniversary of his birth. I've made 4 previous films with and about Benjamin Britten. I made 2 with him and then 2 at his request. One more at his request and then 1 at the request of Peter Pearce. So I thought it was a subject I knew fairly well. But then I was asked if I was going to do anything for the 100th birthday, and I said, no, I think it's already done. Other people should do something now. But then the more I thought about it, the more I realised actually there was something very important which I had not said, and not said clearly enough, and that was his total commitment. If you say pacifism, it sort of gives the wrong impression. It feels pacifism, but in Britain's case it was a very, very active, almost an aggressive form of pacifism. Right from the very beginning he was writing music, piece of music after piece of music, proclaiming the message, if you like, and people ignored it, and people still ignore it. And I think he probably has done more to change the sensibility amongst certainly musicians around the world as to what the purpose and function of music is. Britten is always quoted as saying, our job is to be useful and to the living, by which people usually mean, oh yes, he wrote things for children to perform. Well, that's also true, but actually it was rather more important than that. He felt that music was centre stage in our lives, not even our cultural lives, in our lives, and that people should pay attention to what his music was trying to say. And that is that basically, like all great creative artists, whether you're talking about Stanley Kubrick or Benjamin Britten, we've made a mess of things, and it's about time we stood and stopped and thought about it. And so I thought it was perfectly justified to begin the film with the Holocaust and end the film with Wootton Bassett, which unfortunately Sky don't take that view. Sky are mostly out to lunch even on a good day. And they say about the Wootton Bassett, what's that old man doing there, they say. You think, the days when broadcasters thought, I'm a big fan of Tony Hall, who's just taken over the BBC, and so I'm now beginning to be slightly optimistic about the BBC. But the great days of the BBC were not those days in which we had loads of money. We never had loads of money. When we felt we had, we could do anything we liked. We didn't. We thought in the late 60s and BBC, when I was there, people like Hugh Weldon and Carlton Green, the BBC had a responsibility to try and lead people, not to pander to them. I came back on a plane today from Italy, and I've never met him before, but on the plane was Alan Titmarsh. I think, is that how you pronounce his name? Titmarsh, or whatever it is. I actually wanted to go out and thump him. I've never, ever forgiven either him or the BBC for introducing The Last Night of the Proms. Now we've got a Beethoven symphony. He wrote several of them. That is a verbatim quote. I mean, how moronic can you get? Alan Titmarsh should be actually filled full of concrete and thrown off Clacton Pier and never heard of again. And I almost did do something like that on the plane coming back from Italy today, simply because what he represents is the idea that a broadcaster like Sky, like now latterly the BBC, thinks that the audience is stupid, that the audience isn't capable of following a complicated argument, that the audience isn't capable of feeling strongly and passionately about things, particularly about political matters. The audience wants to feel involved, wants to be, in the broadest sense, educated. It doesn't just want to be fed Strictly Come Dancing night after night, or Big Brother. I mean, the broadcasters should be utterly, utterly ashamed of themselves, but they're not. That'll do for now.
Fantastic, thank you for that. Somebody has to say it, and the best person to say it is probably someone with such a wonderful reputation as yourself.
Thank you.
And as a filmmaker who's trying to say something in the world, and that's not cynical and that's quite heartfelt, I really appreciate what you're doing and saying that, because I think you're completely right, and we shouldn't be led in the way that we're being led. People, we should have more of a voice. So thank you.
Not at all.
Thank you very much. Oh, do I have your permission to put this on the internet?
You do.
Thank you. Fantastic.